This was a study conducted to investigate the different modifications used to counteract unwanted noise radiated from switching mode power supply circuits. Switching mode power supplies are common circuits that are used in most electronic systems to convert power from one voltage to another. Switching mode power supplies are notorious for emitting RF noise. As such, countermeasures must be made to reduce the noise these produce to prevent it from interfering with other electronics. The objective of this study was to apply different traditional modifications to a switching mode power supply and observe how each affected the power supply's radiated emissions. The noise emitted by the power supply was measured using a biconical antenna, which measures at frequencies between 30 MHz and 300 MHz. Also, an absorber-lined shielded enclosure is used to seal out all other electrical signals and emissions that could interfere with the measurement. A baseline measurement was made to determine how much noise was generated by the switching mode power supply before any modifications had been made. This measurement shows that much of the noise generated by the switching mode power supply occurs around 175 MHz. Small capacitors can be used as a simple solution to filtering noise. 1 nanofarad capacitors were added to the input and output of the switching mode power supply with the goal of filtering some of the noise at 175 MHz. In practice, however, these capacitors did not seem to affect the noise generated by the device. A snubber is a circuit that consists of a resistor and a capacitor in series that slews the switching of a waveform to reduce its higher frequency content. It can be designed by measuring the switching of the power supply with an oscilloscope to determine the values of the resistor and capacitor that will appropriately slew the signal. This circuit was added to the switching mode power supply in an attempt to reduce noise. In this case, the snubber did reduce the noise at 175 MHz, but it came at the cost of increased noise in the 30 to 70 MHz range. Switching mode power supplies are very noisy devices that will likely interfere with other devices if no adjustments are made. Adding small capacitors for higher frequency filtering is a common practice when trying to reduce noise in electronics, but may not work for every application. Some modifications like snubbers may be effective at reducing noise generated by a switching signal, but they will have trade-offs such as higher emissions at other frequencies and less efficient energy conversion.